Welcome to another Highland League weekly Friday preview show. Hopefully this week ahead of a full card of Highland League action. The weather wasn't kind to us last week. We only had 3 games on. There are another 9 games scheduled for this weekend. Hopefully a few more survive. Callum was telling me earlier that he doesn't think we could be so lucky, but
I think we could be worse than last week, to be honest.
If we give it the Bruce Forsyth, higher, lower? Higher, more than 3, okay.
So Callum's clearly going
lower. 1 or 2. It's not looking, the forecasts I've seen, it's not looking good for Frost.
But hopefully the game, well, I want them all to go ahead, but hopefully the main game, Buckie Thistle against Brechin City, does go ahead, because this could be pivotable. Pivotable?
Pivotable.
This could be pivotal in the title race.
Could be both, whatever that other word was. As I said in Monday's show, I think Brechin are looking very much champions-elect for me. I don't think it's a must-win for Buckie, but I think if Brechin win it, then they're hitting the home straight at this point for me.
I think it's certainly, I would be inclined to say almost it is a must-win for Buckie, in the sense just because they've played the extra game as well. If they could win, it would obviously take them back level on points with Brechin, gives them a bit of momentum and impetus as well in terms of just keeping it as close as you can. I mean, to be fair, a draw wouldn't be the worst result for Buckie either, but as you say, if Brechin win 6 points clear with a game in hand, it's
the position any manager would want to be in.
A long way to go, but it's a very good position to be in, clearly.
The one thing for me, when I look at this game and I look at Brechin, the one thing we don't know is how are Brechin going to react when they lose a game, because that's the one thing that hasn't happened in the league. Was it 1 draw? Mm-hmm. And they've won every other match. So that is the one thing in the back of my head, but still, Buckie need to... I'm talking myself out of it now, because I started by saying Buckie don't need to win, but then as you're chatting through it, you're going, well, maybe Buckie do psychologically need to take the 3 points here.
I'm interested to see because in the first game between the sides at Glebe Park, which we filmed as well, Brechin won 1-0, and Buckie, by their own admission, never really laid a glove on them as they would have liked, never really got much going at all. In the final third, I think, and you know, as I said on Monday as well, we've not really seen a lot of teams able to sort of really put Brechin under pressure or outplay them for long periods. But I think Buckie could potentially, at their best, be the team to do that. So if a game's on tomorrow, I'd be interested to see if they can do that, because if they can, they've got players like Josh Peters who will put the ball in the net, but the issue might be, as I've said before, Brechin, when they get their spells, they seem to be so good at taking advantage.
Yeah, and don't concede any goals. I didn't realise both the teams have exactly the same goal difference at this point. Obviously Buckie have scored a few more, but they've conceded a few more as well. But yeah, it's that Brechin defence, isn't it? That's the big...
Well, it's 7 goals in, 15 games in the league. Immaculate, really. But are you going to push us for a prediction, or are you?
No, I'm just going to leave it up to see what happens this weekend. Unless you want to give us a prediction.
Oh, I'm gonna say home win. I think I'll say 2-1 to Buckie, if it's on. Because it could be ice skating there instead.
1-1.
1-1. Okay. Well, we'll see next week. Their second game this weekend, Brora Rangers against Rothes. Brora Rangers sitting 3rd at the moment. What do they want to happen between Buckie and Brechin?
They want that 1-1 I predicted, probably. Or even a Buckie win. They certainly don't want Brechin to win.
I think a Buckie... Either or, probably, although being ever the diplomat, Craig Campbell will say he doesn't look at the other scores, but
he's fibbing.
But he'll be. I think ideally a Buckie win, because if Brora could win, they'd then be 3 points behind the both. But again, they wouldn't be heartbroken with a draw either. But it's a Saturday where, with what I've just said, Brora, important thing for them is go and win your game, and at least one of them's dropping points. You will improve your position and be closer to at least one of them if you win. So that's the task for them. But
it's easier said than done beating a Rothes team.
Exactly, well it is, because I mean Rothes, they've had a couple of postponements and things, but they're kind of back 7th in the table after a difficult start, more like what you would expect. I think they've taken 10 points for their last 4 games in the league, and the game where they drew was against Inverurie, where they played the last 20 odd minutes with 10 men. So Rothes are clearly near an easy team to be facing, so I would just fancy Brora to shade it, but I think if they were to win Brora, however they managed it, I think they'd be really quite pleased, because nobody looks forward to playing Rothes.
Devon Vale against Nairn County. We talked on Monday about Nairn County's current stunning run, really. 6 games unbeaten in the league, 7 games in all comps, bar that sort of technicality that saw them exit the League Cup, wasn't it? But the Vale, they're coming off the back of that heavy defeat to Brechin, but we also saw them give Strathspey a real doing a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Both teams can score goals. Who would you think Nairn edge this one?
They can, but what I would say is, out with the title challengers this season, right now Nairn County are the team I don't think any club would fancy facing in their current form, as we keep touching on. 14 points out of 18. They're very good. They've got the bit between their teeth. They're getting results. They're confident. So I have to fancy County here.
The other thing in their favour is that Conor Gethins is back from suspension this weekend, and he's
the goals,
Mr. Goals for Nairn. But Devon Vale, my big hope for them would be that last week doesn't affect them, because second half, clearly last weekend's a bit of a write-off. Conceded 5 and it ends up 7-1, but they'd shown even the first half of that game, and they'd shown in the previous 2 games, which the one against Lossy and Strathspey on their day, the quality they had. So I would hope you see a kind of confident Vale performance on the front foot like those 2 games. And if we get that with the way Nairn were playing, it could be a cracking game.
Okay, well, hopefully it is a cracking game then. Now as you go ahead.
The only thing that'll be cracking will be the ice, I think. But,
Formartine United against Inverurie Locos, both teams coming off the back of 1-1 draws.
And it'll be 1-1 again, Ryan.
Is it going to be 1-1 again?
They're always so tight, these games, these two, I find. And I don't see anything in their respective form to make me think it'll be any different this time round.
draws probably. I might just be inclined to edge towards Formartine, but both sides at the minute probably feel they should be scoring more goals than they have been. They've kind of both been getting into good areas. I just think maybe I would just be inclined towards, by the odd goal for Martin. I think maybe defensively as well, they're a wee bit more resolute than Inverurie, but it's also a coin stuff really. And these anybody that's ever watched Formartine and Inverurie games, they're always well contested, feisty affairs, shall we say.
Fraserburgh against Strathspey Thistle. Now this is the first time Strathspey will have played since Charlie Brown's departure, with our interim management team in place. I suppose from their side of things, you're looking for maybe some kind of reaction from the players that maybe haven't covered themselves in glory in recent weeks.
I think that's fair to say. I'm sure Brian Ritchie's delighted, interim charge for first game. How can we get on away to the champions? But no, I would agree with you that I think just being competitive and not, competing well and not getting an absolute pasting would be the first thing I think they'd be looking for. And if they can get 1 point or 3, great. But I think you're looking for a performance first of all, aren't you?
Whatever happens, the first 20 minutes are so important, because how many games recently has it been a minute played, 10 minutes played, and it's 1 or 2-0 to the opposition when they're playing Strathspey. Strathspey have to get a foothold in a game to give themselves any chance of getting something out of it in the first place, and that's going to be easier said than done against the Brock, I'm sure.
What the Brock looking for from their perspective?
Goals. Of course you are. You can't be showing any sympathy or anything. You're playing the bottom team in the league, and you're thinking this is a great chance for 3 points and to bolster our goal difference. That's what Mark Cowie will be telling his players.
Okay, the next one is a big tussle. We have Huntly against Forest Mechanics. Big mid-table clash, this one. I think 5 points separating them. Forest 5 points above Huntly. Chance for Huntly to get the fishing on it, reel in Forest. And I mean, both teams in decent form.
Aye, well, Forest, I think,
Well, yeah, after last
playing well without having picked up too many wins recently, but I thought their performance last weekend against Inverurie, as well drawn with them, was very good. And I mean, Huntly were out of action, but the last time they played it a fortnight ago, Christie Park scored 5, so you know they'd settle for another showing like that. I mean, Forest actually, I think both at Christie Park and at Mossett here, and there'll be people out there watching who probably tell me the actual stats, but have a pretty good record against Huntly over the last sort of 10 years or so. But I think for Huntly, if you could win, and there is the potential for Rothes getting beat as well, if they could win, it would open up the possibility really of putting in a kind of challenge for that 8th, 7th even, Ken. So big game, and I think certainly again could be a real classic. I think Huntly are capable of winning it, but I mean both teams plenty of firepower. You know, it would, by the same token, wouldn't be surprised if it finished up 3-3 or something, but we'll see. Hopefully it's on, first of all.
Have either of you seen any of the footage from Huntly, Wick, which I saw on delay?
No, I haven't.
Andy Hunter in that game, if you can find the footage anywhere, like 40-yard free kicks off the posts, the goals are all fantastic. Oh, good performance, Andy. Right, three more games to discuss. Keith against Banks of D is the first one. How's this one going to go? Was Keith's last out in the draw with Fraserburgh?
It was, aye.
So yeah, on a high. Hopefully that high has endured.
Well, it shows you what Keith are capable of, but can they do it consistently? That's the challenge. Banks of D, they're looking to push up the table. They'll be wary of how Fraserburgh got on in their trip to Kenneth Park. So that's got a tasty one for me, I think.
I think Keith, I mean the reverse fixture at Spain Park finished up 8-0 to Banks of D, and having spoken to Craig Ewan about it since, he sort of said that it's just like after the first 10 minutes, just everything that could have gone wrong really in their performance did. So I think that's what week to week with Keith, I think they're sort of looking for consistency of performance first and foremost, because when they do play well, they've picked up results, but then there has been the odd week here and there where, you know, they've thrown in a bad performance and they've been beaten, like that game at Spain Park, they've been beaten heavily.
Turriff United against Clark na Curran, the penultimate game to discuss. We're expecting Aaron Reid and Hugh Clark to both be fit to feature for Turriff. I think we discussed that a couple of weeks ago.
At this moment, I think yes, but I think Clark will be hoping they don't have to see Hugh and Clark again, because last month in the League Cup, first round at the Hearts, 4-0 to Turriff, Hugh and Clark scored all 4, so I think Clark, if they turned up and he was missing for whatever reason, would probably be delighted. But I mean, Turriff, that result in the League Cup was a good one for them, but in the league you have to go back to the 15th of October for the last win that they picked up in the league. So really I think they'll be kind of looking to try and improve things in the league again, and see this as a good opportunity to do so.
Two teams that have been patchy for me. That's why I'm sitting on the fence for this one as well. I think it's another draw.
Wick Academy against Loxymouth, that feels like a reasonably tough one to call. For me, obviously Wick at home, strong, traditionally. Which way do you see it going?
Well, the first thing I would say is, at the time we're recording this, looking at the forecast, I think this is a game with the best chance of being on, but that's in it, because it doesn't seem like it's going to be quite so cold in Caithness during the week. But Lossy, speaking about teams that haven't won for a while in the league, 8th October was Lossy's last victory in the league, so as much as they've been playing decent enough stuff, they could be doing with points again. Wick, the last 2 games, Huntly in the league, Falkirk in the Scottish Cup, conceded 11 goals across the 2, so I think Gary Manson's first thing he'd be looking for would be to try and keep a clean sheet and then go for there.
2 managers that want a result, need a result. I think home form is what only, home advantage, sorry, is what has me leaning towards Wick, but not with any degree of confidence.
Okay then, but hopefully that game takes place.
Well, hopefully they all do,
Hopefully,
but
yeah, hopefully they all
once
do.
again, they're on till they're off.
Okay, so a reminder then, if they all go ahead, our main game is going to be that cracker between Buckie Thistle and Brechin City with highlights and reactions from Victoria Park, and we'll also have secondary highlights of Brora Rangers against Rothes. See them again, hopefully Monday 7 PM on the Press and Journal website, and we'll see you then, hopefully.